Hello, my friends. It's a fascinating time, to say the least. We're in the middle of a wholesale kind of overhaul of the present kind of government by Elon Musk and his Doge crew. And it's really easy to get excited about what he's doing because if you've played around and been engaged with the government at all very much, it's very clear that there is a lot of fraud, abuse, and other kind of things that are going on there, and they're being exposed now, and that is really a good thing. And each time that they have another announcement about the billions of dollars or however many it is that have been misused, what it does is it converts more people, more Americans over to being suspicious of the government in ways that they weren't necessarily before. And so what it's doing, it's laying the groundwork essentially for a, a, a major kind of change, and it is uh, conditioning the space, if you will. It's fascinating because the strategic approach that has been undertaken by Trump, Musk and his people is just masterful. It's just extraordinary. There's a couple of think tanks, and I've heard them described, and I haven't gotten the name of them, that are kind of behind this, who have designed this campaign. And it is a shock and awe and exemplified. I mean, it's a magnificent thing that they're doing. If you have any sense of the kind of the lethargy and latency and the of the bureaucracy, that they're really they have done something really pretty impressive, and that desperately needs to be done, frankly. And it'll be interesting to see how effective they are with the intelligence community and some of those folks. Clearly, they've got the attention of the FBI, the CIA. Somebody just said that they put out some kind of a notice today and said, "Don't screw with us." Well, we'll see how that works, because Trump and the guys that he's got put together have a great deal of inside information about how the system works and where the problems are, and they are focusing on those. And by the way, and they are doing this sequential, they're hitting the high points, the low-hanging fruit that starts to build and transmit awareness across the American public about how dysfunctional these aspects of the government are, and then they lay it, and then they do another one and another one, and it's being done with very clear kind of intent and understanding of the kind of social psychology about how you do that. The next big one, of course, is whether there's any gold in Fort Knox, and that is very interesting because that has deep kind of emotional attachment, I mean, to it, and in terms of the stability of the overall financial system and so on. And if it turns out that there's not much gold or no gold in Fort Knox, then what you've got is another, giant step in the direction toward increasing kind of instability of the whole system. As badly as all of this needs to be done, and how plausible it all is. And I've never seen anything like this in all of my life. And I think you could argue that this is the most extraordinary assault on the structure and bureaucracy of the government, and perhaps since the country was formed. And that in and of itself is of great kind of significance. But you got to ask yourself, where is this going? It's one thing to clean house. It's another thing to then say what replaces this, because it's impossible that they're going to, uh, fire, you want to fire half of them or whatever it is. You got to keep the system going. And so they'll circle back and they'll pick and offer jobs back to the people who are the good folks and so on. But nevertheless, you're in a situation where you've got a whole bunch of essentially technocrats uh, uh, who are extracted out of Silicon Valley, the PayPal mafia, as they're called, who are distributed throughout senior places in the government, all of whom have this aversion to the present situation. But they need to ask yourself, what in fact are they going to build on the back end of this? And what's becoming clear, and this is not original with me, many people are starting to come to the conclusion that what they're trying to build, and will likely build on the back end of this, is a technocracy. And that they want to digitize everything, and they want to uh, do CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. They want to. The only way those work is if you get a digital ID, and and all of a sudden you've got a situation where they own you. They know everything. They know everything about you. They know what you're thinking. They can put thoughts in your head. They know where you go. They can shut off your car. They can shut off your money. They can do anything they want if they want to do it. And there's no way to back out of that. So, in a sense, you could come in out of the frying pan into the fire, or whatever the imagery that you'd like. You'd suddenly find yourself in the next worst place. Uh, and it would really be worse, because you would really not be able to extract yourself, because you lay AI over the top of this thing that then makes it increasingly complex, and all the algorithmic decision making and so on that would attend this. And you would be inside the machine, and it would be impossible to extract yourself. And so it's really quite important that we try to uh, get an off ramp and head off in a new direction. I've talked about this a good bit before, the need that we need to begin to start building a model for a new world, like a real model. It starts to get a whole bunch of people that are entrained and aligned, commonly aligned, around a new set of emergent ideas that could really turn into something that was a distinct alternative to the dystopian kind of direction in which a technocracy would take us. And so it we now have guys like David Martin, who will be at transition talks in April. David Martin is now saying, as he did 10 days ago, that that the financial system hits the wall in in 2 months, not 2 years, which is what he always said before, 2027. 2028 at the latest. Now, what it looks like, and other people are coming to the same conclusion, that this is like in our face, and that this is really going to be significantly disruptive soon. It's hard to tell what it is, but you've got people like Martin Armstrong and Penny Kelly and others who are all pointing at April and saying that there's a real time of disruption that is coming in April. Cliff High is saying that there's these waves of energy coming out of the galaxy, the center of the galaxy, and he's seeing the time. One of them is the end of March, beginning of April. There was just one 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. There'll be another one toward August, I guess. His data is suggesting. And so what you're seeing is this kind of convergence of ideas and reporting that all say that something really big is going to happen. Now, the really big thing is not explicit in terms from Martin Armstrong, for instance. And so uh, you could easily, if you're trying to handicap this thing, say that maybe they'll try another time to assassinate Trump. Certainly, the people inside the government, like the intelligence agencies, are feeling threatened, as well they should, and you just really don't know what they might do. Um, what you've got to bet on is that the good guys within the system, and there are good guys in the system. There is essentially a war, a conflict going on inside of the military and the intelligence system and the intelligence agencies, the intelligence community. And there are essentially good guys, you might call them constitutionalists, and they see the future of the country to being destroyed by those who are not interested in maintaining the viability of the Constitution. And then you have another group which is defined variously in kind of other kind of ways, but certainly has been politicized. The easiest way to kind of describe it is that they've been politicized and captured and are part of this attempt to at least change the underlying culture and the essence of who the country is, if not give us a way to the Chinese or whoever else. And so the good guys inside are certainly are defending, are providing an alternative to where the large efforts are to kind of drive this thing toward a technology driven, AI driven environment that we can't extract ourselves from. But kind of the question is, who gets there first? Who solidifies things if they can get a digital ID and if they can get the CBDCs in place, then kind of the game is over with. A bunch of alternatives and wild cards because you don't know what kind of alien life or off-planet life might play in this whole situation. There are again energetic waves that are changing who we are and how we operate and how we think. There's a variety of other kind of things that are all in play, that are all converging. And so this period, going into the end of the year is going to be amazing and highly memorable. The major kind of forces that are in play are attempting to get World War III going. And they're trying to get World War III going because they need an excuse to collapse the financial system. And we've talked about that before. And if they're unsuccessful in doing that, then what you essentially go is you drive yourself very quickly toward a revolution, a global revolution, and certainly a national revolution. And so this is really big, and it's really huge where it's going. And so it's a fascinating period of time, and what it essentially calls all of us to do is to rise to the occasion and and be open to many necessarily to new ideas, because you can't get to where we need to go without extracting ourselves, untethering ourselves from the old ideas in the old world, and go to it in a new direction. And we need to do that in a hurry. And so this is a I keep saying it's a fascinating time. It's amazing. And we'll all be back, and we'll be talking about it, often in the future. But hang on, uh, and this is no time to be passive. This is a time to get engaged and lean forward, and be part of establishing yourself resiliency, and build community and those kinds of things that'll allow you some degree of independence in the middle of all of this change. So we'll see you, and we'll talk to you again.